So I'm just about ready to make my second build of the league, but before I do, I wanted to make an update video on my Divine Ire Ignite character and all the changes I've made since my last video. If you want a more detailed breakdown of this build, I did that in my last video, and there will be a link to that in the description. So the first thing to get into is my chess piece. I have a really solid defense chess piece here with no life rolls. That's pretty important for the life mastery. I reforged defenses on the harvest bench until I had super good defenses, tier 2, tier 1, tier 2, and then I prefixes can't be changed, reforged fizz until I hit something good. I was hoping to hit tier 1 spell suppression, but I ended up getting a tier 1 resistance roll, which is also quite good. If you do manage to get tier 1 spell suppression, it saves you 2 skill points, so that's pretty sweet. And then for the implicits, I have +2 all maximum resistances, along with physical damage taken as fire. And then I have Awaken added fire support in place of inspiration support. This is a big damage increase over inspiration, but it comes with the downside of needing to solve your mana cost through other methods. And the way that I do that is through the ring craft, and then also this pretty sweet circle of anguish I got with reduced mana cost implicit. It has increased buff effect and max fire res. I think that max fire res would be better if it was increased fire damage. If you can manage to get one of those in trade league, that'd be pretty sick. And then the other way that I solved mana was through tattoos. I have a lot of these increased mana regeneration tattoos, and I plan on replacing the rest of these tattoos with mana regeneration once I get those tattoos, but they are fairly rare and it is taking quite a bit of time for me to get them. The next thing is that I have a second cluster jewel down here with Doriani's Lesson, which is a nice additional source of recovery. So then I also have 2 new jewels in here, and these have max fire res on them. I really like getting max fire res as an elementalist because you get so much damage taken as fire. Right here. And so I like to focus on getting max fire res on my jewels, and also I have a little bit of life on this one, and then this one has a little bit of damage and evasion. Next, I got a Light of Meaning today. So this is a really sweet jewel for this build. You get a lot of notables and just like, small ones as well pathing through here. These all get whatever mod you have on here, and both physical damage and fire damage work for this build. So that's a pretty sweet one to get. Got really lucky from my witnesses, invitations, whatever. Audience with the King, that's what it's called. So that was a pretty sweet drop to get today. And then the last new item I have is the Bottled Faith. So this is a pretty nice flask. It gives Consecrated Ground, which reduces curse effect on me, along with giving me life regeneration to me and my posse, my golems and my merc. So that's pretty nice. And then it also increases the damage that enemies take if they're on the Consecrated Ground as well. This could be a Progenesis or a Noriath's End or something. I've never used either of those flasks, but I imagine they would probably work pretty well for this build, actually. And then the last thing that's new is my Merc has a different pair of gloves this time around. He has Culling Strike, whereas before I had like Extinguish on hit or something basically irrelevant. Culling Strike's definitely way better. Everything else he has is the same. This is actually the same Merc I had before. Level 80 still, Malevolence and Grace. I haven't been able to find an 83, but they die pretty rarely, so it doesn't matter all that much. But they do tend to be pretty hard to find. And so that's all of the changes I've made. I have a few things left before this build is complete, though. The first thing is I need an Enlighten. I never found an Enlighten, so I'm using Arcane Surge support on my Frostblink. Once I get an Enlighten, Flame Dash goes there, Enlighten goes here, and then I will ditch these 3 points and get my dot mastery, or my dot points, and then probably just like a random mastery of some sort. I'm not exactly sure what third point goes into. You do need some more mana regeneration tattoos by the time you get there, because this mana regen on here is relevant. Also, the +20 intelligence might matter as well. Next thing is I need a Watcher's Eye. Physical damage reduction while affected by D-Term, and faster damaging ailments while affected by Malevolence would be the best 2-mod combo. And then the final thing is that I'm still using the same Sceptres that I had in my last video. I've been recombinating a bit, but I need alterations. So that's what I'm going to work on with my next character. I'll farm up some alterations with him. But yeah, I have some Sceptres in here that I've been working on. I had one pretty good Sceptre that was +1 all spell skill gems and tier 1 damage over time multiplier. I threw a fracturing orb at that and whiffed, so that was pretty unfortunate. I'll be saving my fracturing orbs for another +1 all and tier 1 dot multi. And then if I finish Sceptres, I'll move on to recombinating the amulet, but the amulet is actually pretty good. I got super lucky with this craft pretty early on in the league. So that about does it. If you have any questions, feel free to whisper me in game or leave a comment. I'll be moving on to Viper Strike of the Mamba Trickster next because I had a B-Nose drop and I had a ton of fun playing Viper Strike of the Mamba in Affliction League. So that's probably what you hear about next from me. See you then.